Safe and clean drinking water is something that most of us take for granted due to the ease of access. While 71% of the world's population, which is around 5.3 billion people, do get safe drinking water as and when needed on their premises, globally at least 2 billion people get their drinking water from a source that is contaminated with feces, and contaminated water causes around 500,000 deaths each year, and even diseases such as cholera, typhoid, dysentery, and polio. I myself wasn't aware of these facts until recently when I happened to watch a Netflix documentary on Bill Gates and his efforts to combat and eradicate polio, as well as improve the drinking water and sanitation in areas of Africa in particular. So the World Health Organization says that by 2025, half of the world would be living in water scarce areas, and it also means that we'll have to find different methods in order to actually get potable drinking water. So that means that something such as a water purifier that was considered more of a luxury item in the past has become more of a necessity now. Now, people don't get water purifiers for two main reasons, I would say. One is the service cost. So each time you call a person into your home, they actually charge around 500 to 1000 depending on which purifier that you get, in order to just check your purifier itself to see whether it needs replacement and stuff like that. And number two is the difficulty in replacing those filters and also the cost of those filters. So while the cost is more or less same across the board, the difficulty in replacing them is one main reason, and you have to call a service guy no matter what. You can't actually replace it on your own, and as a result you have to actually pay extra to that service person in order to get the filters replaced. Now, Xiaomi water purifier has a solution to this. So number one, it comes with three different filters. There's a PPC filter, an RO filter, and a PAC filter. So all these three filters can be changed as easy as a twist and lock mechanism. So all you have to do is basically make use of the button with switch, and select whether you want to replace each of the filter individually or you have to replace all three, and you can just replace them as and when needed, and it takes less than 30 seconds to replace all the filters put together. So this means that you don't necessarily have to go and call the service person, wait for them to come to your home, wait for them to service it, to clean it and do everything. You can actually do everything yourself. It's a lot of DIY here, and even the cost is kept minimum because of this. You have the PAC, PPC and RO filter all put together comes to around 3,900 rupees, or thereof, close to 4,000. It's 1,799, 1,299 and 799 for the filters. So around 4,000 rupees will give you a new set of filters. And of course, it does not mean that you have to change all three at once. Based on the input level of water, the sort of usage that you have, you may need to change one or two or three filters at one time, and as a result you're also keeping costs at a minimum. Normally when these service people come, they kind of change all together and end up charging you more than what you actually need to pay for. So the other issue also with purifiers I've seen in the past is that they don't really look good, or they don't fit well in your homes. Now, the Mi water purifier looks great. I would say it's a very minimalistic design. It kind of goes along with the rest of the Mi home ecosystem products, the Mi purifier, etc. It's a white look, clean look. Of course, being white, it does tend to kind of attract dirt, and that's one of the issues that I had with it, where there were some marks that happened over time. Now I've been using it for around 2 to 3 weeks, I guess, and while you can clean most of it off, because it has a matte body, it's kind of a bit difficult to clean some of the marks off unless you put a bit of elbow grease into it. I would have appreciated a glossy body for the same thing, as it will be easier to clean, but it's still a very small thing that I don't think most people will even notice. Now, the Mi water purifier can kind of clean anything or water with an input TDS of below 2000. Now, in my particular home, I'm getting around 156, around 150 thereof in terms of the input TDS, and the water purifier can bring it down to 10% of the original thing. So if you have, say, 1000 TDS input, which some areas of India have, I believe around Delhi and NCR, the water is around 1000 TDS, which is way too high considering that WHO states that anything below 100 TDS is actually fine and fit to be drunk directly, but anything above that is generally better to purify and drink. So 1000 is insane, but you can bring it down to around 100, which is again potable and drinkable. Now there's also UV light. So this basically has a 7 liter tank at the top, and there's a UV light within that, as well as a TDS sort of detector, which is what you use to detect the TDS levels of the output water using the Mi Home app. So this Mi water purifier syncs to the Mi Home app, and you can actually monitor the levels, how much water you have consumed in a particular day, week, or month. You can also see the filter life, what percentage it is at. 93% is what my filter is at currently, all the 3 filters. And you can also see the output TDS and input TDS. The UV light is something that comes on, so as and when the water is being filled up, the UV light comes on, and every 2 hours it again lights up in order to filter the water and make it more pure. So what Xiaomi says is that water, when left stagnant, can also become impure. So if you leave water there, say for a few days for example, it kind of gets stagnant and becomes bad. So this, every few hours it kind of turns on the UV again, to just to make sure that it's that much safer and cleaner to drink. Now in terms of the wastage of water, of course, being a purifier, you won't get a perfect 100% drinkable water directly. There will be some wastage happening, which in my opinion in this case seemed to be a bit more than the LG water purifier I had. So I didn't really like that fact, but in my home we kind of reuse the water that's again being generated outside. So whatever wastewater comes, we collect it into cans or whatever sources that we have, and we use it for cleaning or for something else which basically we would need water again for. So we're trying to minimize the wastage of water by saving it and using it for something else. So that is something I believe they can fix, but what Xiaomi says is that close to 50%, which is also what LG claims. So I feel it's a tiny bit more, maybe a 5% or 10% increase over what LG claims in terms of the actual wastage of water. But as long as you try and reuse it, I think you should be good. And I like the quality of water that comes with it. You can use 2 methods of actually filling bottles or glasses. It's currently only what do you say, wall mounted design. It's not a tabletop design, which is why you don't get the kind of stand to keep bottles or glasses there, but you can actually press and hold it in order to fill it, or you can go for a free flowing method by lifting it the other way, and the water sort of spout is actually in a chrome sort of finish, and you actually have a small spout. It looks like a really big spout, but the opening is actually smaller than what it might suggest. But in terms of the filling rate, I generally don't like to wait too much when actually filling up water, but I noticed that when I was using my LG purifier, I had to wait around 10 to 20% longer in terms of time compared to the Mi purifier. So in terms of the refilling rate also, the Mi purifier was much faster. So overall, the Mi water purifier is something that I really liked, and the benefits of this in terms of the cost of maintaining it, in terms of the ease of replacing filters, and also in keeping track of your water usage. So initially, the first few days that I got it, I was surprisingly shocked to see that we were using less amount of water than I expected. I'm not sure what exactly caused it, but then that sort of puts thought process in your mind to consciously drink more water. So water is something that you need to be drinking drinking well in order to keep yourself hydrated and healthy. So we weren't drinking enough water, so we consciously made an effort to drink more water, and this app helps keep track of that as well. And roughly right now 93% is our filter level. So while I can't guarantee that everyone will have the same filter span, by the time we hit say 5% or so, and seeing how many liters were consumed in that time, we would know the rough lifespan of the of the filter. So based on the input TDS, it can vary. For us, 156 is not too bad. While it is still above WHO health standards, it still isn't too bad, and I've seen areas where it's as high as 1000 as well. On the internet, people have been talking about that as well. But overall, in terms of the cost, at 11,999, the Mi water purifier I feel is the best purifier out there. The smart functionality is one thing that's lacking in many purifiers, and this helps that. It looks good. I bought an LG purifier prior to this, which I don't like at all, but it came in only one single colorway, which is black with flower pattern on it. So I kind of hate it, and although I have a closed cabinet, every time I open it I kind of cringe at it, but this looks beautiful and fits right in. The other thing being the cost of service and spares, servicing and replacing filters, everything done by you, so that also keeps it to a minimum. So when you buy the box, when you buy the Mi water purifier, you get 3 filters out of the box. So the 11,999 price point includes the filters as well, and each time you need to replace it, you have to spend around 4,000 if you're replacing all three, or otherwise if you're going for each, you have to spend around 1,799, 1,299, and 799. So I would suggest, if you're looking for a water purifier that gives you clean drinking water while keeping costs at a minimum, and also making it easy to use, and also getting some statistic about your water drinking habits, I think there's no alternative to the Mi water purifier on the market right now. I would say in terms of value for money, that is the best, and I would suggest each and every one of you who generally wants to drink clean, healthier water to go for the Mi water purifier. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below. See you again in the next one.